And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Off the Ball live Facebook and Periscope show. And this is the first installment of many shows where I'm going to do an NBA mock draft. I know the draft, it's been postponed, but we're a few months away from the draft. But I want to get some of the most talented NBA draft minds in the business, and I'm excited about this. So just a little, how the show is going to, the outline of the show. We're going to do a one-round mock. Every one of us is going to, take a turn and select a player, and we'll at the end of the draft, we'll evaluate and see who we like and who's missing. And so we'll just go over all that stuff. So I'm excited. So, guys, thank you for coming on. I got Rich, I got Tyler, I got Corey. Guys, tell me a little bit about you and all the stuff you do, because, like I said, I'm super excited to have everyone on the show. So just talk to me about what you guys do and everything, all the great stuff that you guys have produced. Rich, you go first.
Yeah,
put you on the spot.
It's like being in school again. I hate going first. I like watching the draft and everything. Love doing it growing up. Big Mavs fan, as you can probably tell by the shirt too. And just kind of combine two loves.
Nice. Tyler, I'm this is the first I've had the Rich and Corey on my show, so I'm excited to get to finally talk to you. So just tell me a little about everything you do.
Yeah, man, I came across your stuff recently, and I've really enjoyed it. So I appreciate you having me on, and appreciate talking with you guys. I'm just similar to Rich. I just grew up loving the game, grew up loving the idea of developing and putting together teams and stuff, and have just kind of been doing draft guides and mock drafts and scouting reports over at #basketball. And yeah, just happy and excited to do this with you guys.
Awesome. Corey?
All right. Like Chris, I'm a New Yorker, except I'm a Bulls fan. I coach basketball on Long Island. I'm a varsity coach, and I was doing these draft videos for fun, and then once everything happened with COVID and stuff, I really took it as an opportunity to just go crazy with it. And I've been doing some breakdowns on YouTube.
Tremendous videos, by the way. Tremendous videos.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been pretty much all the lotteries so far, so trying to get as far as I can through them, and do a little bit of writing at hardwoodherald.com, my site, and just launch a podcast where I talk about basketball movies. So nothing to do with the draft, and everything to do with some pretty corny.
Oh yeah, we all know basketball movies and some of the crazy the crazy stories that they, especially Eddie. I was just thinking about the movie Eddie, just randomly, and thinking about her being the head coach of the Knicks, and maybe she should get an interview. Since they're interviewing everyone, might as well interview her.
It can't go any worse.
It can. With the Knicks, anything could get. It could get worse. But obviously, before we get into the draft, to the actual mock draft, this draft is obviously, is really, it's been really criticized at point. People saying it's not, it doesn't have a lot of blue chippers. But, as I really feel like as you actually dive into this draft, it's actually got a lot of good players. It's kind of deep. It may not have a whole bunch of blue chippers, and we don't know how many guys are going to be, true perennial all-stars or potential Hall of Famers. But it feels like, there's so much talent in this draft. And Rich, we've talked about this on the podcast recently, when you were on a few weeks ago. This draft's pretty, it is deep. It's not sexy. You got Melo is probably the most, the most heralded guy, but other than that, there's a lot of guys. There's the wide range of, where guys can go. We Obi Toppin can be the number one pick, and I've seen people have him 30th, or things like that. It's crazy how wide, the gap is. So just talk to me about, the evaluation of this draft before we get into it.
Yeah, it's all over the place. I think I told you after 20, you can make an argument for just about any single player to be taken at any single spot. It's something we haven't seen ever, and this hiatus hasn't helped anything. Yeah. We're overthinking it all. So there's a lot to take in with it. But you look at some of the last years where the 50 through 60 guys are just they're not big names and they don't really do much at college. They're kind of just complete shot in the darks. But I don't feel like there's that many shot in the darks this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And I don't think we're going to have like that high tier elite level talent like we've been lucky enough to get like these last couple of years. But just the depth is so much more impressive. And I think you're going to get a lot more of these role player guys who also contribute to winning basketball and just kind of hang around the league for just a lot longer than you would really think they would.
Yeah. Corey, what are your thoughts on this draft?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those with both of my dudes. And I will say, while there might not be like an obvious blue chipper like Zion, like Luka, I do think that some of these guys do have the potential based on where they land. I think that there's a lot of guys that could be very great if they land in the right spot. If they go somewhere maybe not so great, it could be a different story. But I think over and over again with guys who aren't looked at as blue chipper, can't miss prospects, fit plays such an important role. And I think that with the guys who in this draft would be considered the more blue chip, I think that's especially true.
Oh yeah, for sure. But who are your blue chips? Anyone in particular? Who's your number one?
My number one? Are we starting?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, well, let's go with it. Let's get right into it.
Segue.
All right, so we'll go segue right into it.
I got the number one pick. So
Corey, you're on the clock. Golden State. So how we'll have the draft order for people that are watching. We're just gonna do it as is. As the current standings are. Obviously, we don't know what the lottery because we still got a while for the lottery happen. So we'll just go with the current standings. So Corey is on the clock. Golden State has the number one pick. So who is the selection? I don't have the jingle. I should have that.
I'm gonna go with James Wiseman.
James Wiseman.
Which I know that, especially as we have more time to start thinking about things, I know that that's not like maybe the internet consensus pick. But I think his talent absolutely jumps off the screen. I think the Warriors are a team that he really makes sense on because he could focus on things that he's already good at in early on in his career as he builds out his skill set. And I think that, I wrote about this. I look back at the Dwight Howard, Emeka Okafor draft. And I think that, a lot of people on the internet, and look, I love Onyeka Okongwu, but I think a lot of people are like, Okongwu's the guy. Look at how great he was. And sometimes I think that like physical gifts and talent kind of overrides that. And the fact that we didn't get to see a lot of Wiseman, like we didn't see a lot of Dwight Howard at the time when we didn't really have access to stuff like that, we maybe look at it and be like, he did so well in college, he's going to be a better pro. But, I think that Wiseman has the potential to be like a big time difference maker. Because I think that a lot of the things that people say are his weaknesses, like he can't guard on the perimeter. Like I think as much as a big can, I think he's capable of it. It's a small sample size, but I've seen him cover the whole floor on one possession, wing to wing, covering pick and rolls, going contesting at the rim. I think that the way he moves, his skill set, I think he's in a place like Golden State where he can, play off Steph and all the gravity on a Steph, James Wiseman pick and roll both ways. I mean, the thought of that is kind of unreal, So I think he would be really interesting there, and that's where I'd take him.
Do you think in the case where he didn't play, obviously he didn't play a lot of games when he played 2 or 3 games. Do you think that will hurt him in this process, or will it help him in this process? Since obviously with the craziness going on in the world, and no combines and no meeting. Do you think that helps him with not a lot of games, or it hurts him?
No, I don't think it helps him from a perspective of like, he only played 3 games and that was how many months ago. By the time the season starts, whatever, the other guys have more of a sample, more video. Even though we can look at his high school tape, we can look at some of the All-Star games. There's only 3 games. I don't know if that helps him, but I think that like if teams can get these guys in any kind of in-person scenario, I think they'll just look at him and be like, holy shit, like this guy is an absolute monster human being. I can't believe he moves the way he does, the coordination. But I don't think it helps him. I don't know if it hurts him. And as far as like he only played 3 games, so it'll be however long before the next season starts. I mean, really, all these guys are going through the same thing with, delayed season. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll help or hurt him as far as the team. I think it's all going to be based on the organization that, has the opportunity to take him.
Okay. Definitely. He's definitely one of the most talented guys by far.
Yeah.
He's just a physical freak. So I'm on the clock here, and I got Cleveland at 2. Obviously, I don't think they need another point guard. I think they have enough of those guys. So I think they'll go Anthony Edwards here. I feel like they try to find that that next star. Obviously losing LeBron and try to fill that void and get that next superstar in Cleveland. So I think Anthony Edwards is the pick here. Obviously, he's built like a tank. He's built like a tank. He had a solid. Obviously, there's things he needs to work on. Obviously with his game, his efficiency and all that. Shot selection. But I just don't think they'll pass up on him here with the second pick. With the potential. Because obviously, potential can also get you fired. But in this case, I think they'll look at this and be like, he could be our next LeBron. The guy that could take us. With Garland there too and Sexton. Someone they could build. I think it's Anthony Edwards here with the second pick. So we got Anthony Edwards, we got Wiseman 1, Anthony Edwards 2. So we got, Tyler, you're on the clock. Minnesota is on the clock.
All right, so this is my favorite player in the draft. I've had him at number 1 in my draft guide since January. I'm going Denny Avdia.
Denny.
So I didn't buy, or I had concerns over his shooting, but I thought they're all fixable things before this comeback. It was stuff where he was falling out of his shot, where it was just minor things that he wasn't linking together. I don't think he's going to be a 45% three-point shooter like he's been since they've returned, but I think he's going to be a good outside shooter. I think he's a great secondary playmaker. In interviews, he said that he really wasn't coached how to play defense until like 2 years ago. And we've already seen massive improvements, especially with his weak side shot blocking this season. So I just only see that getting better. So his versatility, his ability to play the 4 next to Towns and kind of spotting up off of the Towns-Russell pick and roll, I think just adds a lot of versatility to their roster.
Yeah, and he's been looking good lately. I mean, I know it's just he's definitely looking good. His body looks stronger, and he's definitely rising up. And the defense too. I mean, that's definitely an aspect that you don't think overseas guys. You don't think defense, right, per se. But it feels like with Denny, he's definitely one of the better defenders. Okay, so we got Denny off. So Rich, we got Atlanta on the clock.
Man, y'all put me in the hardest situation. The 2 players I'm deciding between are already areas not of need for Atlanta. So I'm going with the best. Honestly, it's a toss-up for these 2. I have them 2A, 2B. I went with LaMelo Ball just as kind of the best player available, I guess. Although I could have been talked into a Okongwu just with Clint Capella. I didn't really know how to make that work. And obviously John Collins. But you get someone to take the pressure off of Trey. Obviously not on defense, of course, which is where more
the defense is going to be rough.
He's the defender. I mean, at least he's tall and he's got the frame for it. At least Trey Young never had the frame for it. So, I mean, there's some stuff, but I mean, he's too talented to pass up. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
I mean, that's a filthy backcourt. That's
Yeah.
I mean, Knicks fans are going to be really upset about that, but the Knicks Nation
gave you a gift one way or another.
Yeah. Okay. So LaMelo gone so we got 5. We got Detroit on the clock. Corey.
All right. For Detroit, I'm going to take Killian Hayes.
Killian.
Yeah. I think that Detroit, honestly, kind of needs help everywhere. I don't think they have any outside of maybe Christian Wood, who I guess is a free agent. So
he's probably going to get paid somewhere.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll keep him. Right? I think he's restricted, right?
I think he's unrestricted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I believe he's unrestricted.
I'm sure they'll try to. If they can keep him, maybe he's a piece they could build around. Otherwise, they got Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin. I like Luke Kennard, but Luke Kennard's not a guy that you're
exactly
moving over if you got to replace him. I think Killian Hayes is the guy that, while young, and I have my reservations about his weaknesses, can he develop the right hand at all?
Yeah, he needs to work on the right hand for sure. Even when he goes to the he's very left-handed, definite.
I'm not super worried about his shot. I think that up top his shot's pretty solid. His footwork needs to get a little bit more consistent, but I think that's fixable and workable. And I think he's a lefty, which I like. And he's a guy who fits the modern NBA. I do worry about his finishing, but again, he's got a solid base. He's young, and he's got good size. So with work, hopefully he could do that. But he's got a pretty sweet in-between game already, and he's got some advanced off-the-bounce moves. And clearly he can run a pick and roll. And, he's another guy who's got overseas experience playing with pros, played with a couple of guys who, have a little bit of NBA experience already. So I think that he's a pretty solid get for Detroit.
Yeah, because they're kind of in a weird phase with because you don't really, they're kind of in the middle, and that's kind of like a bad spot to be in the NBA, is in the middle. You don't know if you should rebuild or you should try to go take that, try to win. But so they're kind of in that weird phase where they got to figure out
like Mayu and Blade.
Yeah, exactly. So Killian off the clock. So the Knicks are on the clock. Okay, so my beloved New York Knicks obviously would have loved LaMelo. But he's gone, and Killian's gone. My top 3 guys on my board is gone already, so the Knicks are bound to mess this up. So, all right. This is tough. But you know what? I'm going to go Kyra Lewis. I just feel
Wow.
I'm going to go Kyra. I love his speed. He's someone that's been rising for me. I love his speed. He's just a blur. He kind of reminds me of Kobe White a little bit. Kind of has that style. And I think in New York where he could play a little faster and play more up tempo, I think he'd be perfect. He'd be perfect in that situation. To definitely But the Knicks the last few years, it's very stagnant, slow pace. I think Kyra could definitely open the game up and that's just going to benefit RJ and hopefully maybe Kevin Knox. It can open up for him too and give him better shots. So I'll go Kyra Lewis. He's definitely rising for me. So that'll be the pick for the Knicks. I might get booed. I'm probably going to get booed.
I like
fans. I might get booed, but I really think this. He's been rising for me, and I honestly, if they take him here, I definitely would be ecstatic if they take him. So the Knicks are off the clock, and we got, let's see who's next. Chicago. Corey's Bulls are on the clock.
Do me right.
All right, so I'm going to go with, it doesn't seem like this team has had a solid wing in ages. I'm going to go with the best team defender and one of the best spot-up shooters in this draft, Devin Vasel. Love his length, love his upside. Don't think he's as great of a shot creator as he showed in college. Made a lot of really tough shots over guys. And I think that will lessen a lot more against NBA-level defenders. But he's still a great shooter, can work off-ball, and just his off-ball defense is some of the most impressive stuff that we saw in college basketball this year.
Nice. Corey, how you like that as a Bulls fan? How you like that?
I've been diving into his film a lot lately, and I got to tell you, I am floored at how good of a team defender he is. I think he's one of the best team defenders for a kid his age I've ever seen. He Florida State switches everything. So he was able to guard 1 through 5. And the game is so slow on that end of the court for him. He knows where to be at all times. Obviously people score on him, right? That's defense. Sometimes good offense is better than good defense, but it's not due to a lack of anything he did wrong typically. I'm kind of floored by how good he is on that end. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I'm cool. Florida State had some dogs on that team.
Yeah.
Patrick Williams with him, they got some real solid defenders on that team. Sure. But that's definitely a solid pick. All right. So the Bulls are off the clock, and we have Charlotte is on the clock.
I can't believe this guy is here still. So I am taking this one and running. I'm going with Onyeka Okongwu.
Okay.
Unless I missed something. He is there, right?
He's there.
Yeah, he's my other guy who I was deciding between with Atlanta. So I guess I made the right pick by holding out. But I'm big on him with his defense. Obviously, I think Charlotte needs a big man long term. And he's probably the perfect fit next to Devontae Graham. He really makes up for a lot of his weaknesses on both ends of the floor, at the rim mostly.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of the best bigs in this draft for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Charlotte is off the clock, and we have Washington.
Man.
Corey.
All right. Damn. This is a tough one now. I was hoping to fall one more spot. I'm going to take Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
I think that we'll see where John Wall is at when he does come back from that point guard spot. And I want in Maxey, if Wall does come back, Maxey will be a guy who could come off the bench, be kind of a change of pace guy. He could play with John Wall or with Bradley Beal. And he's a guy who I think is going to be a better pro than he was a college player. I think, we've seen that sometimes with Kentucky guards. They get to the NBA where there's a little more freedom and they can do a little bit more. So I think he has a little bit more potential on ball. I think playing with Ashton Higgins kind of hurt him a little bit. I think they ran him off way too much floppy action, running off screens, stuff like that when his shot wasn't falling this year. And I want to see him attacking the hoop with the ball in his hands a little bit more. And he's a guy who could just play with either guy. And I think he's my best player available at this spot for Washington. And because of Rui, I can't take Obi Toppin. I can't have both of those guys on the court.
So, okay, we got Washington off the clock, and I'm up with Phoenix. Phoenix at 10. I'm going to go Obi Toppin. Just he had it. Obviously, people, defensively, obviously, I know he's going to struggle with that. But to me, his offense is just he's going to come in right away, and he's going to produce right away. And help. They definitely need help to help Booker. For sure, if they want to keep him, around, because obviously there's a lot of trade rumors with him. So, I think that could definitely help him, with Ayton, and they got some pieces there. Kelly Oubre, they got some guys to add top into that. Maybe come off the bench as a scorer. I think that's definitely a nice fit, and you go into a situation that could be very solid for him. So I'll go Obi Toppin here for sure.
I like that fit.
Yeah. Do you guys worry about the whole age thing with him? Because obviously he's coming in, and I know people. I don't know why that's an issue with the age thing. Because to me, he's mature. He's going to come in mature and ready to play. So I actually think that's a benefit in a way, because obviously the league is so young that we're calling a guy 22 old. Yeah. I think that's kind of ludicrous, but it's just how the league is now. It's so young. I mean, Julius Randle is a vet and he's 25. It's just crazy how young the league is. So I just think it's crazy that people are really worrying about his age. I feel like, yes, he has a lot of flaws and there's things he needs to work on, but offensively and his athleticism it translates to the league right now. So he'll be good at that at least. Defensively he's got to work on stuff, but all that stuff he'll definitely come in and be a solid scorer immediately.
No doubt.
All right. So the Suns are off the clock. And at 11, we have the San Antonio Spurs.
All right. So
weird that the Spurs are in the lottery, but the Spurs are here.
Right, this almost seems wrong, but I'm torn between two guys here. But based on fit, I'm going to go Isaac Okoro. I think he's the best wing defender in this class. I think he can defend any position on the floor. I don't think he'll be a good shooter, but I think he's actually an under the radar playmaker and will be a pretty good scorer when he actually gets to the rim.
I'm hurt. He was my guy.
Rich, what do you like about him?
What did you ask me? I'm
yeah,
sorry. Yeah. I mean, dude, it's the defense and the slashing. And like Tyler said, I mean, the playmaking's there. He does everything except shoot. I mean, I think literally everything is a plus for him except the jump shot, which if it even gets to like 33% 3-point shooting, I mean, that's he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I don't think anything else has a question about translating.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely super talented for sure. All right, so the Spurs are off the clock, and we have the Sacramento Kings.
This is going to be the worst pick of the night. But he's my number one player available. Like, I'm not letting him slip anymore. But I'm going Cole Anthony. I don't know how he fits, but you just make talent work. Who knows what Buddy Hield's future is? That's kind of how I'm looking at this as the best fit part. But at worst, you get a 6-man who can come in and just absolutely light it up for short term, at least. I think long term, he's a starter and a pretty good player. But like I said, you make the talent work and you figure out whatever happens to Buddy Hield next. So,
do you think obviously he had a very up and down season with injuries, and the team was just, they had a very disappointing season. So how do you did the injuries and stuff you think really affected him, or was it just the team, just not being as talented as we thought they were going to be?
It's definitely both. I didn't see like a major issue after the injury. Like, you can notice he was a little bit slower and less explosive, but I don't think it was something that's long term an issue. So I don't really have too many gripes on that front.
Okay. All right. Sacramento off the clock. We got New Orleans.
Is this
That's Corey. Yep, you're on the clock.
Okay. So for New Orleans, they're kind of set at like every position. They're super deep. And, I look at a guy like Zion, guys like Lonzo and Drew Holiday, and I want guys who are going to be able to shoot the shit out of the ball. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take Aaron Naismith here as a guy who isn't going to have to do a lot of creating. He can play in multiple lineups on the floor. He could play with Drew Holiday. You could run actions like you would for JJ Redick with him. So you're not going to kind of lose what you want to do on offense. And, playing with a ball mover like Lonzo and then all of the attention that Zion gets. I'm gonna go with the shooting here.
Nice. I mean, they're built for the future for sure. I mean, they got so much talent on that team, especially Zion. Brandon Ingram took off this year. I mean, getting that vet with JJ Redick, and they got Jackson Hayes who's developing. So their future with Lonzo Ball at the point, man, the future is definitely bright for New Orleans. All right, New Orleans off the clock, and we have Portland. So I'm up with Portland, and okay. So Portland. All right. You know what? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna butcher his name for sure. Butcher. And I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I'm going to Alexei Poku. I'm going with Poku. I think
there you go.
Yeah, I'm going with him. Obviously, long defender. Very intriguing prospect. Very intriguing prospect. So I'm going to go with him here. I think you can let him develop a little bit and work with him, and I think that's the pick here. What do you guys think about him?
I mean, based on the hype today with Bol, I think a lot of people will be happy with that in Portland, whether or not it's warranted.
Oh yeah, Bol did his thing today. He was coming out. He was going to take over. They played what's his face at the point too. They were playing Jokic. Yeah. So they trying to put the death line out there. They have Plumlee out there. All right. So Portland off the clock, and we'll go. That was the end of the lottery. So we'll start Orlando. Orlando is on the clock.
All right. So this guy's actually third overall on my board, and I was toying with him with the Spurs. I'm going to go Tyrese Haliburton. I think he's kind of immune to what team he lands on. I think he's going to be at baseline just good wherever he ends up, and it's just can play on ball, off ball. I don't really worry about his shooting, and it's an ugly form, but it goes in. And even when these defenses run him off the line, and he's got a solid floater, and he always makes the right pass. And his off-ball defense is just incredible. And the Magic haven't had a point guard in what seems like a decade. So I'm going to go with Haliburton.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Halliburton goes top 5. So
For sure.
that's definitely, and people worry about his shot, how he shoots, but it goes in. I say, I've seen guys with perfect form. Kevin Knox has perfect form, and it doesn't go in. So does form really matter? I mean, Kevin Martin, I remembered ugliest shot, but he was 20-point. He was averaging 20 points a game for like a nice stretch. So it doesn't. I'm not really worried about that either with him.
Hey Tyler, would you have taken Cole Anthony or Tyrese Halliburton if he was there?
I would have gone Halliburton. I have Halliburton third overall.
Okay.
So, I think Cole is really really dependent on fit. I'm not sure what role he has. I think if he gets into like a Jamal Murray role where he can kind of be like that secondary facilitator when like they already have like an established big or wing creator, I think that'd be awesome for him. But I'm just not sure how he fits at the next level. I think he's super talented. It's just how does he fit?
Yeah, you're good. I wanted to see if I could have waited for Minnesota or something. That's why
I do love the Minnesota fit. I was tempted with him at 3, but I couldn't pass up Denny.
Yeah. Speaking of Minnesota is on the block.
So they took Denny with the last pick, right?
Yeah.
Man, that I was really hoping for Halliburton too. God, I'm gonna have to go with the only lottery level player left, I think, unless I miss someone. But on my board, I got Patrick Williams. I know it's kind of redundant going with Denny, but just kind of take the best player available, take 2 shots at it. And I mean, Minnesota's done this before.
How'd that go?
We don't need to bring that up.
Last time they had back-to-back first-round picks. How'd that go?
So whoever the next board is might be the best player in the draft. So we'll see.
Nice. Like I said, Florida State had some dogs on that team.
And they're the same but different, or not the same. They're similar but different. I mean, Patrick Williams is still on a huge learning curve defensively, and who knows about the jump shot. But I think they can honestly fit together to an extent. I don't know how many minutes you want them playing together, but they're both guys you can plug into any lineup. It just depends if you plug them into the same lineup. Who knows?
For sure. All right. So Minnesota's off the clock, and we have the Boston Celtics.
All right. That's me, right? All right.
Yep.
I think I'm about to take a guy here that will probably be around much later, and he's an older guy. But with the Celtics, I look at them as a team that is ready to go. Again, they could probably get him with the 26th pick, but I have him really high on my board regardless. I'm going to take Cassius Winston.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
He's a guy that can run the shit out of a pick and roll. He knocks down a ton of shots. He's a guy who's going to be in the league playing winning basketball for a very long time. And, I think there's a lot of guys who may have some potential here and there, but I think when they got some potential, you need to give them minutes to, show what they have. And I don't know how many minutes they have at the wing, even at all of these positions with all the talent they have. So I'm going to take
Okay. Cassius Winston. So we got Dallas on the clock, and that's me. Okay.
Chris, I'm putting a lot of trust in you.
All right. I'm going to try to make you proud here. And okay. I'm going to this is another guy that I've really been watching a lot lately and really he's been growing on me, and he's just a certified bucket. I'm going to go Grant Riley here. I just, I think his game definitely could translate to, I know he played at Charleston, the College of Charleston, and there's not a lot of guys that go pro from the College of Charleston, so I know people are skeptical about that, but man, this guy could score. And to add that to with Porzingis and Luka, to add another scorer like that to that team, I think that would be absolutely tremendous. So I'll go Grant Riley here.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on that, Rich? I want to make you happy.
Yeah, Mavs already have the best offense in history, right? And then you put a guy who has, almost no offensive flaws on the court. They really do need a point guard that can get to the basket. That's kind of been, the biggest weakness, because unless you count Luka as that guy, they really don't have that. And kind of DeLon, but DeLon Wright's minutes have been so inconsistent. I could see that fitting. Personally, I prefer a wing, given a lot of the guys that were there, but I would definitely be able to get.
I think I lost you, Rich. You lost Rich.
Oh, he's frozen.
Froze. All right. I think he liked the pick. So at least we left on that note. But all right. So Dallas is the pick, and we have Milwaukee.
All right. So grew up in Milwaukee, so can't let the hometown guys down. A lot of their guards are getting older. They're aging. I'm not sure how long guys like Wesley Matthews are going to be around producing at the level he is. So I'm going to go with Josh Green from Arizona. I think he's a good spot-up scorer. I think he's, in this class, an elite perimeter defender.
Yes.
He really needs to improve his finishing at the rim, but he does a good job of getting there, stud in transition, and he'll be able to play minutes for them immediately, especially with his defense.
Nice. Yeah, he's definitely a tremendous defender too, for sure. All right, so since we lost Rich for the moment, we'll do this together and just see who you guys would like here. So we got Milwaukee just there. We got Brook. I think he's back. Let's see. There he is.
Back.
What happened to the Wi-Fi, bro? So you said you have Wi-Fi.
Boston, I went into a mess. Yeah, the internet went out on me.
All good.
I'm on a different platform.
You're good. All right, so you're on the clock here, and you have Brooklyn.
Okay, so who was picked after
Josh
Dallas?
Green just went from Arizona.
That was the guy I wanted in Dallas. But I'm happy with Riley. So,
Nice.
So I'll take man, that changes things. I'll take Sadiq Bey. I'll just go ahead and you can never have enough 3 and D.
Nice.
Even if the D is a little bit questionable, but yeah, you can never have enough shooting and guys who can play defense and switch. So I think he's a seamless fit in just about any team.
Love my villain, guys.
All right, so Brooklyn off the clock, and we have, let's see who's up here. We got Denver.
All right. So Denver, I think, has proven over the last few years that they're willing to take guys that maybe there's a little bit of risk with, maybe have a little bit higher upside, and they could bring along at their own pace. And so I'm going to take R.J. Hampton for Denver.
That was going to be the I would take him. R.J. Hampton.
Yeah. He's obviously fast as hell.
Yeah.
I think that he's a pretty solid playmaker. Shots questionable, but if he put it together, he could really be a really interesting player. So Denver's got pieces all over the place, and I think that he's a guy that's worth taking a chance on at this point in the draft.
Do you guys think that it helped or hurt him going overseas?
Hurt.
Yeah.
Hurt, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely think at least going to college for a year would definitely, I know there's a big thing with the whole college thing, and I know a lot of people, with the whole money situation, guys want to get paid and all that. But we saw it with Zion, like that 1 year at Duke, he went from being, a top 5 pick for sure, based off his athletic ability, from being to then, finishing the year off at Duke, and he was the consensus number, like he was the number 1 pick, no doubt. So I feel like it can benefit you, at least going for and getting better coaching. The coaching in at college is way better than what the coaching he was in New Zealand. Definitely way better. Coaching he would have gotten in the States, but that decision he made, and we'll see how he falls, because he's another guy that could. It wouldn't surprise me if he's top 10. Because people just look at his athletic ability and then how fast he is. But it wouldn't surprise me if he falls, to the bottom of the first round. So it's going to be interesting to see how RJ Barrett, where he falls. So, all right, we got Denver, RJ Hampton, and we have Philly on the clock. And I got Philly. Okay. Philly's in I think they need some shooting. And, I'm going to go Tyrell Terry, Stanford. Another guy that I've been watching a lot more lately, and, can definitely shoot. I know he's thin. I know he's really thin, to say the least, but, I think with some good meals over there in Philly, You know, they got some cheesesteaks there. He can get some cheesesteaks. You know, and they'll beef him up, and and I think that would be a solid selection for them. All right, we got Philly off the clock, so we have Miami's on the clock.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Tyler Bay for Miami. Love his defense, love his work rate. A little inconsistent shooter, but he'd probably play mostly forward for them, so I don't think he'd have to do much shooting. But just his personality, his work rate, his defense fits perfectly with that team, in my opinion.
Nice. Okay. And next, let's see who's on the clock. We got Utah, the Utah Jazz.
All right, I'll take assuming he hasn't been taken, Desmond Bane from TCU.
That's your boy.
Yeah, my guy. They need more shooters. You could, like I said, for the last 3 picks, I feel like I've taken shooters, but you can never have enough shooting in this league, and I think he's the best shooter in the class. Never shot under 40% from 3 in any of the 4 years. He's an absolute Iron Man for a team that has always kind of had issues staying healthy. I think he's a decent defender. Could go one way or the other any given night, but overall at 24, when you're getting, in my opinion, at least the top 2 shooter in the draft, that's a win.
Nice. Okay, so Utah, and we are at the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. Okay. So OKC is a weird team because they're really good this year and really fun, and they have 1,000 picks coming up, but they don't have a lot of really solid young talent. They have good players that are vets, but outside of SGA, they don't really have that great of talent in other spots. So I feel like I can kind of take guys wherever. I'm going to take Ramsey out of Texas Tech here.
Okay.
I think he's he's kind of like Anthony Edwards light in this draft a little bit. He's a guy who could get his own shot over anybody. I think under the right scenario, playing off a guy like SGA, who maybe they could be pretty switchable defensively. Shai could guard 2 sometimes. I think he's worth a shot at this point in the draft. I like his game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they need shooters too.
Yeah,
for sure.
They never take shooters.
And I think they're going to trade Chris Paul. I definitely think they're going to trade Chris Paul and let Shea just take over. And he's going to be a star. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a star in this league. All right, so OKC off the clock. Okay, just went 25. Oh, we got Boston, right? Boston's on the clock. All right, I'm gonna go Trey Jones. I'm gonna go Trey Jones. Solid team guy. Smart defender, improved offensively big time. Play at a big time program at Duke. Just a smart player. He seems like he would fit right into that with Boston. So I'll go Trey Jones for sure.
I like it.
First Dookie off the board. So 25. Oh, let's see. Boston was there. Okay, I kind of messed up my daughter. We got Boston. We have the Knicks. Right. I feel like I mixed up. Okay, hold on one second. Did I mix up now? 21. Philly was 22. Miami. Oh, Utah. That's where I messed up. Utah. Who was Utah?
Desmond Bane.
Desmond Bane was Utah. Okay, Desmond Bane was Utah. And then OKC. Okay, I mixed up with it. So Utah was then OKC was right. Ramsey was Utah was OKC, right?
Yeah.
Ramsey.
Yep.
And then Boston I took with Trey Jones. Okay. All right. So we got the Knicks on the clock.
All right. So this guy may be a little bit of a project, but what I've seen I've really liked. I'm gonna go Leandro Bolmaro.
Okay.
Love his energy. I think he can easily develop into a quality shooter. We've seen flashes, but he's been a little inconsistent. Loves the spotlight, loves playing hard on defense, can be a little turnover prone because of his tendency to pass with a little bit of flair. But just I think his two-way potential is really impressive, and just his work rate, I think, is going to make him at very worst a rotation guy.
Okay, nice pick. He's definitely been rising for me. I definitely like him a lot, and that'd be a solid pick for the New York Knicks for sure. So Knicks are off the clock. All right, so we got Toronto next.
Man, it feels weird to be picking an Atlantic Division team since I feel like you've gotten all of them, Chris. So I may have to delegate this one to you. I've got 5 people that I don't know who to decide against. This is the hardest thing. So I'm gonna go Theo Maledon out of I think it's France, Germany, France. I can't remember.
Yeah.
France. Thank you. Yeah, because I think he's my best player available. I feel like the Raptors just do incredible things with point guards. I feel like he has a high ceiling as is already. They'd be a really good fit, and it's good value.
Yeah, and with Van Vliet possibly leaving, and he's a free agent, that could be a guy that could develop, and eventually, maybe take over for them there. So that's definitely a solid pick. So we have the Lakers are on the clock.
Okay, that's me, right?
Yes.
All right. Again, another team that, you got LeBron, you got Anthony Davis. Just give me a guy who can kind of knock down some shots, has a good NBA body, athleticism. I'm going to go with Elijah Ute. Okay. I think the Lakers clearly have an affinity for guys like Deion Waiters, J.R. Smith, guys who get hot in a flash, pull from deep. So I think that he kind of, fits into that mold a little bit off the bench for them. And is a guy that, maybe could play off LeBron's high usage.
Nice. Okay, so we're the last pick in the first round of this mock draft, and I got Boston again. So I had them taking Trey Jones with the first pick, and man, you know what? This is my guy. And I'm going for bat for him and going for bat for him for a while. I know people maybe not be as high as him, but I'm taking another Dookie. I'm going to go Big Vern. I'm going to take Vernon Carey here. The side, I think he's super skilled. I still think he's skilled. Yes, I know the pick and roll. You might as well just, that's an easy bucket there. I know that. I know it. I know, guys. I know it. But I just think everything else offensive, he's still super skilled. And I just think I think it's a good pick. They could use another a big man like that, and I think they'll figure it out with him there. They'll figure it out, and they have a bunch of defenders there that can help. That will help them. So
they have the same mindset with Cantor. So
yeah, exactly. It's similar. I know. Cantor won't be there next year, so you won't have the 2 defensive linemen like that. But I think Burns the first round pick, so I'm gonna give him. But that's the first round, guys. This was that concludes the first round of this mock draft. Is there anyone that you're surprised that was not taken?
Honestly, Precious.
Yeah.
Chris and Jaden McDaniels, those were my 2 highest left. And Isaiah Stewart, I guess, but he's polarizing, so I get not taking him.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a guy like Nico going in the first round.
Yeah.
Whether he is or isn't, I could see that. I could see that happening somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Who are you guys all do great work with everything you guys do. Corey, you do your great videos. You do some of the best videos on YouTube and stuff, and Tyler and Rich, you guys do just tremendous stuff. So what's the one thing, especially with all the craziness going on, what's the hardest thing about evaluating, this class that you have been having troubles with the most?
Well, for me, I just wrote a big thing on it. LaMelo Ball is the hardest guy I think I've ever had to evaluate because his his boom bust potential is like outrageous, and he's going to be a guy that goes at the top. And you know, I want to like him so much because I feel like every time I watch him and I start nitpicking, I feel like I'm hating on him, and I don't want to do that. But you know, he's just so hard. It's like, do you want to be the franchise that takes the chance on a kid that could be mislabeled as this like offensive genius when like I don't know if he is an offensive genius the same way Luka's an offensive genius.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
like he is. You know, I compared it to having like a toxic relationship. Like,
I think most people with LaMelo, I think that's the one thing. There's like a really tough relationship.
You know, the highs are so high, and you convince yourself like she's the one or he's the one. You know, whatever. And then something crazy happens, and you're like, "Damn, what am I doing with him?"
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And
like
you got to deal with the dad,
right? Homegirl's got a crazy dad to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I think he's legitimately like insanely hard because for as much potential as he has to be like that Luka Trey hybrid, he could be Jamal Crawford and Jason Williams too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough thing. I think a lot of people will look at the highlights. His highlight package is sick, but a lot of times when you watch the tape, for me personally, I'm like, I don't get like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And he plays pickup. He plays.
He's a pickup.
He's the kid you play pickup with. That when you're winning, even when you're winning, sometimes you're like, oh man, I know he'll get me next time, but that shot, you know, we didn't need that shot right there. And I don't know. He's been tough for me. I've done 2 like full on breakdowns of him because I was like, you know what? Maybe the first time I was wrong.
Yeah.
I went back and if anything, I think I dropped him a spot or 2 on my big board after. So he's been somebody I'm losing sleep on.
What about you, Rich? Who's your most like polarizing guy that's been really tough? And I think also we have so much time that sometimes we kind of like going too much. We kind of nitpick and try to find too much in because we literally have like forever to figure, before the draft starts. So I think we may overanalyze some guys. So who's your most polarizing guy that you're just going crazy over? You can't really figure out.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the biggest change for me. It's just, all we have to go on is film. There's no workouts to say like, oh my God, this guy done sense or whatever. But I would say the hardest has to be, this is a cop-out, but James Wiseman, it's just because he's played one real game. He played against Oregon. I don't consider the other 2 games like real. And high school tape is just so hard to take away things from. So I'd go watch. And I really want to buy into him because I loved his game against Oregon, even though he had some mistakes. And I loved what he did in high school. I loved keeping up with him. So maybe I'm a little bit biased. But it's just so hard to really dive deep into him. You can only do so much,
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Tyler?
Yes, and kind of like you said earlier, just like this extended period, like you get wrapped up into a guy's highlight package and you're like, oh my God, he is incredible. Why do I have him at 35? And then you go back to your notes and you actually watch like the film again. It's like, that's why. And just not getting sucked into like the draft Twitter and just the highlights or just the lowlights and just you're trusting your initial, gut feeling on them. And one guy that I have way higher than I've seen everywhere else is like Corey Kispert. I just love his overall game. I think he's just going to be able to do a bit of everything and a rotation. But we kind of touched on it earlier. Cole Anthony is a guy that I really struggle with because I have no idea how to judge his playmaking because his team was so bad. There was zero spacing on the floor. No one on that team can make a shot. So I don't think he's an elite playmaker, but I think he's better than he showed. I think his numbers are really misleading because he had to do everything. So I'm hoping that once he gets into the NBA where he's not, head and shoulders the best guy on his team, that, he doesn't have to do everything. And he's able to kind of show how talented he is. But just this season was really tough for him because I don't think anyone had a worse situation than he did.
For sure, yeah, they definitely underachieved big time at UNC, and I think that definitely hurt his stock because when he came, people were talking about him going number one. They said like he's being the top high school prospect, and people talking about him possibly going number one, and the buzz was high. But then injuries, and then UNC they fell off this year big time. So that kind of hurt his stock. But that's going to be interesting to see where he goes. He's another guy. His range can be there's a whole bunch of range. He could be top 5, but you could also see him drop out of the lottery. So it's going to be interesting to see with him. So before I let you guys go, just a few more questions. Who's your sleeper? Who's a deep sleeper that no one's really talking about right now? Go, Rich. You go first.
Oh my God! I was saying I don't want to go first.
Sorry, I know
you knew every sleeper the last time I was on your pod. I interviewed him. But I'll just go I guess you probably. I mean, I'm assuming that you know him too. I'll go with Josh Hall. Obviously not necessarily first round, but I think he's put on a lot of weight over the summer. And his jump shot, I buy, and his athleticism is really good with his size. Just taking a chance in this draft in the second round, I think is fully worth it on someone like him, that young with that physical profile.
Mm-hmm. Tyler?
All right, so I apologize if I butcher the name. I'm going to go Paul Iboya. He's going to be a project. But if it works out, you kind of see flashes of, and this is kind of a lame comparison, but like a Pascal Siakam kind of type of flashes. But he's got a lot of work to do. But if a team takes a second round flyer on him and is willing to put in the time and he does develop, I love his just overall game and work rate and kind of what he can do in space.
Okay. Corey, who's your guy?
Yam Madar. He plays, I'm probably going to butcher the team name. I think it's Hopel Tel Aviv in the Israeli league. He played with Denny at the U20s on the Israeli national team's point guard. Kind of a slick playmaker. He was a little he played a little bit out of control at times in the U20s, but since basketball has come back, he looks like he's gone up to a new level. It's not necessarily the strongest league, but he's gotten more time and he's produced a lot. And he's a guy who, I don't know if he'll get drafted or not, but he's the guy that I think will play in the NBA at some point and be pretty solid.
Yeah, I got a few guys too, and I'm biased because I interviewed them, but I really do like their games. I like Isaiah Mike from SMU. I think he's definitely someone that is definitely rising for sure. And Eugene Herman from Northern Illinois. He's a bucket, certified bucket. I mean, last 3 years averaged 20 points a game. So that's someone that if you just need a bucket, he's kind of like Jamal Crawford. He's just someone you come in and if you need some points, man, he's definitely the guy. So those are a couple guys, I think are some sleepers. But guys, this was fun. This was really fun. I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm happy that you guys came on. I showcased all your talents because you guys are some of those talented NBA draft minds, out there. And I'm just happy that you were able to come on and the people, everyone who watched got to see what you guys could do. And, you guys do tremendous work. So before I let you guys go, I want you all to plug your stuff. Let's go with Corey. I won't do Rich first because I don't want to, I'll do Corey. You go first. I'll put Rich last. Rich, you're going last. All right, just be prepared.
All right. You can find all my video breakdowns by searching Hardwood Herald on YouTube, or you can go to hardwoodherald.com and find everything through there. My Twitter at Hardwood Herald post kind of short clips of guys that I'm currently watching all the time, and I'll blast out all my content through there. And if you're a podcast person, we just did episode 1 with Jonathan Macri from Knicks Film School.
He's great. I had him on my show. He's awesome.
Broke down the 1996 New York Knicks classic Eddie.
Yes, love that.
And there are a ton of NBA cameos in that movie. Pretty much every NBA player that is an actual NBA player. So the basketball scenes are incredible. There's a great Gary Payton playground scene with Anthony Mason, rest in peace. So we had a good time breaking that down. So you could listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts, or you could watch the whole video on YouTube called Nothing But Netflix. and we're gonna do some really fun movies coming up. Coach Carter's.
I love that movie. I love Coach Carter.
Tyler?
Yeah, you can find most of my stuff just through my Twitter at tmetcalf11. All my draft stuff, draft guides, scouting reports, strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff is over at #basketball.com. Working my way through the first round guys. Should have RJ Hampton and Grant Riller coming out soon. And then just cover more just Timberwolves specific stuff over at dunkinwithwolves.com. So yeah, Twitter's the easiest way to find it.
Nice. Rich?
Just like Tyler, you can find most of my stuff on Twitter at MavsDraft, and MavsDraft.com is where I put all the scouting reports and everything like that out.
Awesome. Like I said, guys, this was a pleasure. Happy for you guys to be on the first installment of this NBA draft series that I'm going to be doing. Like I said, you guys all do tremendous work, and that's why I had you guys on the show. And I'm just happy everyone got to see the great work you guys doing. And make sure, guys, everyone listening, to go follow everyone. I'm gonna upload this to audio, so I'll have it as a podcast too. So I'll make sure to have all your guys' stuff there. But guys, this was fun. Like I said, appreciate you guys coming on, and continue success with all your guys' projects. You guys are doing just tremendous work, and you guys are definitely killing it out there with the draft coverage. So be safe. Please be safe. It's crazy. The world's crazy out there, so please be safe. Corey, you know how it is in New York, man. It's wild out here. Coronavirus and everything else going on, man. It's thundering now, man. The dogs are scared. It's crazy over here. But guys, like I said, this was fun. Be safe, and make sure to follow Off the Ball Pod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and like I'll have everything posted up in the next coming days. But like I said, guys, thank you. Be safe and take care, guys.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Chris.
it.